Hello everybody, you are watching CC Executive and we're here today with the Sorbonne Business School. We're going to talk about their international MBA and we have the director Pierre-Yves Lagroux as well as an alumnus Andrea Cagnin here to take your questions. We have someone else who will join us a little bit, but first we're going to start with the corporate speech. All right, Pierre-Yves, Andrea, welcome to the show. You have 2 minutes to pitch your program to us. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the International MBA at the Sorbonne Business School, here in Paris, is a part-time program that is managed and taught entirely in English. It targets professionals who are willing to study while keeping a full-time job. This is a general management program, but it has a focus on international, and we are offering an experience international inside and outside the classroom, which means basically that we're going to be dealing with a very diverse crowd in the classroom of students. In this current intake, we have 20 different nationalities for 28 students and a globally experienced faculty. The outside the classroom refers to the seminars that we're offering abroad that enables people to experience firsthand what it is to work internationally. This is a program that enables participants to develop strategic vision and gain understanding of the different business skills needed to work in a fast-changing environment. It is something that helps you also understand what is teamwork and how to improve your teamwork. I would say that it helps people reveal their leadership style and grow personally. All of this in 18 months. In a very competitively priced program, enables basically anyone to grow and to boost their career. That's an accessible program.
All right, I'm sold. Well,
Good.
Shall we move on to the face-to-face and check out some of the questions?
Absolutely.
All right, they're going to show up right there, so let's take the first one here. And Andrea, will you read this for us, please?
Yeah, sure. What level of professional work experience do you require to apply to the MBA? Could it be entry level or should I be in management?
So maybe, would you like to
maybe
take this, Pierre?
I can take this one.
Okay.
There is clearly a needed level of work experience to go into an MBA, and I believe this applies to most MBAs, as long as we're talking about the true format of an MBA, which relies on a case methodology. This is a methodology that basically requires people to be able to refer to their experience postgraduate, once they have actually joined the company and are working in the organization, understand HR issues, growth and politics and dynamics within a company. So this is clearly not for junior. You need to have experience post-graduation once you have actually started a career. Does it take management experience? Not necessarily. We have people that decide to focus on their expertise and actually work on one particular function without necessarily managing people. This is often the reason why they would join the MBA, to gain exposure and to explore what they can do. But this is not a requirement that there would be management experience. The reality is, for the most part, people have already some experience, but it's really a one-to-one situation where we're looking at the motivation of the people, what they already have done, and will they be able to benefit from the particular pedagogy. So yes, it needs some experience, but then it's going to be assessed individually.
Sure, so what's the minimum experience that you're starting with, and then what's the average of participants?
Minimum experience on paper is 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
The average experience that we've had in the last 3 intakes is 9 to 10 years.
Okay.
But I can tell you that in the last intake, we have people that have 3-year experience and some that have 25.
So you take people who have experience all the way up to 25 years even.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too much. You still have something to learn even at that level of professional experience.
Hopefully even further. The reason being, there are different motivations for people to join an MBA, and they are going to contribute on different levels for different things. As long as there is something that's going to benefit the whole class and that the mix works, there's no problem mixing people that are of different age.
All right, let's take the next question here, and Pierre-Yves, if you'll read this, please.
So since this is a part-time MBA, are we required to have a job while entering the program? Let's put it this way.
Okay.
No, we don't have to. You don't have to have a job to apply. for the most part, people already have a job, people already are based in Paris and actually choose this program because it makes it possible to keep their full-time job and to study at the same time. We have a small number of people, typically less than 15% of the student body, that are actually moving into Paris and are choosing this program to get started. They're typically looking at developing a little bit of a language skill if they don't have any when they get in, explore options, make contacts, and then get started. So there are, again, different situations. We've had people that were on maternity leave or that were in between jobs that decided to get started with the program. It doesn't really matter as long as there has been a previous experience that basically feeds the pedagogy for case studies.
Okay, and so Andrea, did you work while you did this program?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, and
So
can you
actually-
tell me, was it intense? How was balancing your schoolwork with your day job?
It was a very intense experience, especially during the evenings and the weekend, and then with the job during the week. Yeah, it was very challenging, but I think that working while studying allows you to put in practice what you learn.
So you were when you went to school or when you were in classes, were you applying what you were learning in those classes
Yes.
at your job?
Yes. So it's like you study in the evening and in the weekend, and during the week you have on-job training. So you apply your what you learn at school. Something that if you don't have a job, you have to wait to find a job to put in practice what you learn.
And did your employer recognize that you were bringing new ideas or putting these new things that you learned into practice on the job?
I would say yes.
Yes.
But then I think that the most important is, do you think that you provide more added value with your proposal without considering your employees? Do you think that you provide more added value to your team? That you manage more the subject with the knowledges that you acquire during the MBA? I think yes.
And so the people, your participants in this international MBA, they're professionals, they have lots of professional experience, they're used to juggling intense schedules, but what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about doing an executive program and working at the same time? How would you advise them to succeed in doing both without completely going crazy?
Completely is important.
Yes, just a little bit. They can go a little bit crazy. Okay.
So lots of people do it, so I think it's feasible. I did it, so it's feasible. I think that you have to well organize your personal life and to discuss with your family if everybody agree with your career choice, because this choice can impact also your personal life, so the family and friends and everyone.
All right,
But
very good. Let's move on to the next question here, Pierre-Yves.
Is this program good if I would like to change jobs or career, or is it more for professionals who will stay with their current company? Actually, it's both. We typically have these two kind of general profile. People that are willing to grow in their career, keeping their main expertise as the lead, but typically take more managerial responsibilities. And then we have people that are looking for a change. Some of the people that are joining us already have an idea of where they would like to go, and they are looking for the different skills that are going to help them boost and move to the next step. For some others, they know they want to change, they don't necessarily know where. They might have an idea, but typically that idea evolves and improves throughout the program. So no, it's actually absolutely fit for both. There's no requirement or preferences on our side.
So you just touched on my next question, which was going to be, they might not know where they want to go, but how does a program help them develop that idea, and how do they get exposed to the different options that are available to them?
I think it's a dual process. On the one hand, and I would refer to what Andrea was saying earlier when you were asking about the benefits of the program on a daily basis. The program really helps you understand and revisit what you are doing, and it's an eye-opener, helping you see what is actually related to your decision. how you're impacted by other functions decision. So there's a lot of things that might have been existing without you having a clear conscience of what it is that now become accessible, and that makes sense. So for a lot of people, this is somehow opening new horizons and new paths that they would want to explore. I think the other reason or the other way that this experience goes through is because you are sitting in a classroom with, well, in the last intake, 27 other classmates coming from entirely different horizons, be it national, professional, meaning the role that they have, the industry that they work in, the education that they have received. And they're going to talk about what they do and what's exciting about their job or their industry. And this is going to give ideas. In the different work that you're doing as teams, there's a lot of discussions going on. There's a lot of comparing and contrasting things. And so people actually gain ideas over that. We've had people change job during the program and move from one company to another classmate's company, for instance. So I wouldn't call that poaching, but somehow there can be different opportunities that open up because of the proximity that the program creates.
And so, Andre, I'd like to hear from you. What about changing industry? Of course, people can change jobs and get promoted to a higher level in whatever ladder they're climbing, but what about changing industry? Say someone who worked in chemical engineering wanting to get into tech or something like that. Is it possible to change industries after this program?
Yeah, sure. You have to, let's say that you have two ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is with new knowledges. The second one it's with the people that you met also during the MBA. So you can have a connection with somebody else, and speaking with other people, knowing better the other industry, you can have connection. And so it will be also easier to move to other sector.
Okay. All right, let's take this question here. Andre, if you'll read this,
sure.
please.
Is this program for MBA more for France, Europe-based candidates? Do you accept candidates from outside the EU? Yes. Yes. So yes. So this MBA is based in France,
Mm-hmm.
okay, in Paris. Let's say that 60% of the candidates, 50% of the candidates are Europe-based.
In your class?
In my class, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's for sure it's open to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
to all the candidates all over the world.
Okay, and you
If-
said
if-
most
if
people
you-
are already based in Paris.
Yes, the majority are already established here. Like Andrea was saying on the previous question, it's important to get organized to gain family support and job support.
Certainly.
So stability is usually a good condition to get started well.
Mm.
Now, we have people coming from all over the world. In the last two classes, we had less than 1/3 of the participants that were actually European. The wide majority is coming from other continents, countries. Like I said, in this last class, we have 20 nationalities for 28 people. In the previous one, we had 14 nationalities for 22 people, and 5 continents on the last one, 4 continents on this one. It's pretty international.
Do you have participants who commute between other European countries and in Paris? Because how often do the classes meet?
So the classes meets twice a week.
Okay.
At night, Thursday and Friday evenings, and every other Saturday, so twice a month on the Saturday. We typically have one student that commutes. That's about the maximum
Okay.
that seems to work. It's a rather intensive program as far as the hours that you need to spend in class and then with your classmates. There are things that you can do virtually, but it's not really practical. So it's potentially or theoretically possible, but it's a rare thing.
All right, let's move on to the next question here. Go ahead, Pierre-Yves.
Do you require test scores such as GRE and GMAT for application? And the answer is no, we do not. This is executive training, and
Sure.
we are looking at people that in the most cases have left their universities or their school years ago. bringing them back into a very formatted and standard system such as GMAT for us doesn't bring any value.
Right, because they have all this professional experience and meet the other requirements, then
exactly.
they don't need that.
Exactly. Now, there is, I think, a very important concern that we need to address, and that some universities decide to handle with GMAT. It is, are we going to be able, as a candidate, are we going to be able to succeed in the program? Are there any particular topics that could be an obstacle, and how do we assess that? So we find other ways throughout mostly the examination of the file and of the application of the student, of the candidate, as well as during the interview. It is really a discussion where we're trying to raise the concern, would there be a problem? How do you handle those kind of topics? And whenever there is a need, we advise on how to get prepared, but we don't ask people to invest time or money in preparing for a score. If somebody has one, fine, we're going to look at it, but it really is not going to be very heavy in the altogether decision.
Okay, so Andrea, tell me about your application process and what was required of you.
So the most important part, it was the motivation.
Like an essay explaining why you wanted to join this program?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. There was a technical essay about an analysis of a company, but the most important part, it was the motivational part.
Interview.
Yeah, the interview.
And then are the interviews face-to-face, in person?
Yes.
And what was that like?
It was very good.
Did it feel like a job interview, or what was the mood?
Let's say partnership interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kinds of questions did they ask?
Almost everything about my motivation to join the program. And with a bit of feedback, I'm happy that the director, it was not you, it was Damien, asked me this question, because it helped me to understand if I was really motivated to spend lots of my personal time during this program. So it was a bit of coaching instead of an interview.
Okay,
Yeah.
just to see if you were ready to...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what else are you looking for in candidates? Just an overview in terms of personality, qualities.
Well, I don't have a standard profile that I'm interested in. Like I said, I think it's interesting to gather people that come from diverse background, that have different goals and views, so that they're going to be able to grow collectively. We're looking at people that are highly motivated, which means that they're going to be taking the means to do well, to commit and get involved in the program with their classmates. That's really key for us. We're looking at people that are likely to succeed in the program, and we are making sure that the program is a good fit for what they're expecting. So I think I like the way you put it. It's like a job interview in the sense that we are here to select candidates, but they are here to select us as well. So we are trying to make sure that there is a good match between what we can offer and what they're expecting. We're trying to raise questions so that they know how to get prepared. They, like you said in the coaching part, we're making sure that they have actually asked themselves the right questions. We're not so much interested necessarily in the answer, but more on the question, like if I say, have you spoken to your family about your plan? How are they going to be dealing with you're spending some of your personal time studying as opposed to being available with them? I don't mind the answer as long as basically the person is comfortable and basically the family is comfortable with the project.
Great. Let's take the next question here. Go ahead, Andrea.
What's the difference between an MBA and an executive MBA? So the executive MBA, you can do it while you work, and the MBA, you're supposed to take some long periods off from your work.
Okay.
No? Or to leave your work.
Well, it's a difficult way to segmentate the supply here, because if you're looking at the North American market or the European market, we may have different definition of what is an MBA, a professional MBA, or an executive MBA. Speaking to our program, I think we're labeling it as an executive program because we have people that have, on average, about 10-year experience, which means that they already have gained typically a certain level of vision over what is their organization about, what does it take to run an organization or a team. So they are basically focusing both on specific skills and functional skills, as well as more strategic and general skills. So I think that the difference that we get at executive level is this. It's not just about the skills, be it business skills or leadership skills, but it's also integrating in their views and integrating in their thought process socially responsible issues, sustainability, and things like that. It's also trying to bridge and bring a more transverse approach to things. And this is something that we typically do through the international seminars that help bring together the different pieces that might at times be studied separately.
All right, excellent. Next question here, Pierre-Yves.
Would you consider IAE Paris, so the Sorbonne Business School, to be a leader in business innovation as other business schools such as EDHEC and IM Lyon claim to be? I will speak to my school mostly, and definitely can say that we are a leading partner of training programs for executives and have been for 60 years. We have this expertise and experience in executive training that we have developed over the time. So in terms of tools, methodology, curriculum, scheduling, we have basically tried different things and know what actually is a good fit for students. In terms of content and methodology, I think what sets us apart is that the Sorbonne Business School is working mostly for people that are working with organizations. Over 80% of our students are actually business people that have a full-time job. So we have actually decided to focus on the service to these people and to the organization, not just in the training, but also in the research. So we have action research. I think this is what characterizes mostly our positioning in the research field. And we are looking at things that are actionable. We have currently 6 chairs, which are like research groups dedicated to different programs. And these chairs gather both our faculty and different leaders from different organizations, be it public or private. In those chairs, just like in any research project that we are managing, we're basically tackling current issues. We are developing new ways to approach them, innovative tools and methodologies. And this is actually nurturing our teaching. So the students at the Sorbonne Business School, they get the benefits of this innovation that is developed throughout research that we are actually putting in, integrating into our teaching as well.
So Andrea, very quickly before we move on, did you find the Sorbonne Business School particularly innovative? And then also what made the Sorbonne Business School stick out for you besides being able to continue working in this executive program?
I think that the Sorbonne Business School has the best quality to price ratio. Yeah, and the knowledges that it provides are very good, and I think that is this ratio the most important part, at least for me when I choose the MBA.
So it's a great value.
Yeah, it's a great value. I was not looking for a paper. I was looking for knowledges. So I think that it was the good choice.
Excellent. All right, we're going to take a quick break from the face-to-face. It's time for the expert question. All right, so Pierre-Yves, if you'd like to read this for us, please.
So the statement is, executive programs are usually for professionals who want to move up a corporate ladder. How does this executive nurture entrepreneurship and self-employed participants? I believe some participants to executive programs are looking for promotions and more responsibility within large organization, but we also have participants who are interested in entrepreneurship. I think there's a way in between today. We're talking a lot about intrapreneurship, people that are willing to gain autonomy and develop projects within larger organizations. And I think this really speaks well about our student body. In the International MBA, we have a lot of people that are engaged into careers in large organizations and are happy with the context and maybe the security that it provides, but are also willing to be entrepreneurs and to be able to develop and lead their own projects. We have some of our content in the program that are trying to help people test, experience, and explore those aspects. For some of them, it turns into, I drop my job at the end of the program and I launch my company.
Wow.
We've had every year basically a couple of people do that. It's a fast or slow process depending on the scope and the nature of the project, but we've definitely had people completely change 180 degrees direction after the program. I think, like I said earlier, the program brings a more global vision of what is possible, help people understand what they already know and what they can do, and that somehow gives wings to people that are willing to fly away and sometimes create their own company. So the MBA is not just for corporate people, it's really for everyone. And I think, again, the diversity is important and interesting to develop people.
So Andrea, did you consider yourself, even if you had a full-time job before you, or when you joined this program, did you consider yourself entrepreneurial, or that you had an entrepreneurial mindset?
At the beginning, not at all.
Okay.
I actually joined the MBA because I wanted to improve my position within the company, in the managerial side. But it's also because I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. So this program helped me to know a little bit more about entrepreneurship and to understand that yes, I have some ideas, I have some knowledge, I have something that maybe in the future I can develop in the entrepreneurship side. And I think also that this international side of the MBA, it can open your mind even better than national programs, because in the current context of mondialization and the business is more and more international. I think that an international program it's the base to have a mind open and ready for your next step.
All right, we have time for one more question before we welcome our next guest. So
Sure.
Pierre-Yves, if you'll take this, please.
Is it possible to specialize in a particular sector, luxury, or function like supply chain management? I guess I will rephrase that. Are there options within the program to actually specialize the training? And the answer is no. The actual concentration of the program, if we want to put it this way, is international studies. So you always have a core fundamental courses in an MBA that gives you the overview and the understanding of the main functions in the company. And then you add up something. Sometimes some programs are modular and gives you this flexibility. Others are more lockstep and give you one way. So this is our case. We've decided to offer an international MBA program where we're managing the program and the body of the students as a cohort. So everybody stays together from the beginning to the end, which is quite nice in terms of the bonding among the classmates and the way they develop their relationships. But we don't have slack to offer specialization, except, and it's not a small thing, there is a final piece, which is the professional thesis that students undertake at the end of the program as the capstone. This is a rather heavy piece that represents a good 2 or 3 course equivalent, where they're going to select one topic that's of interest for them, be it because that's what they want to do next, they want to set a track record and be recognized in their ability to do this. And so they're going to be working as the pilot on that project. They're going to be tutored by a faculty that can be a specialist of that particular field, and they're going to develop their own learning process. But it's not something that is set in the program. It is this one last piece that they can customize. For the rest, it's a set concentration.
All right, thank you, Pierre-Yves. We're going to say thank you and goodbye to Andrea. We're going to welcome our next alumnus who will tell us more about the program. Stick with us, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and we are here with another alumnus, Soon Ban, who also teaches in another program at the school. Welcome, Soon. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you do?
Okay, so I was mainly in IT for 10 years almost, and mainly in telecom company like Bouygues, SFR, and and Orange. And actually, after my graduation at the Sorbonne Business School, I moved to another company in Renault, but my main expertise is IT, digital IT. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, maybe we'll get to talk a little bit more about your experience as we
Yeah.
take the questions. So, Pierre-Yves, if you'll read the next question for us, please.
Do you organize any study trips or meetings outside the school? Yes, we do. As part of the curriculum, we have 3 international seminars where we take students abroad for 1 week. This is very important for many reasons. For people studying part-time, they come at night and on Saturday. So there is limited options to actually go and meet with companies, meet with leaders and exchange on their experience. So we take advantage of these 3 one-week seminars to take students outside of the classrooms and to help them experience something different. The 3 seminars are based in Brussels, in Prague, and in Florence. And for each of the seminar, we have a particular theme that's going to be bridging across several functions or several courses that have already been taught and help people develop a broader understanding of how those different things are connected. So for instance, when you go to Brussels, we are meeting with different companies, different EU institutions to try to understand what we typically refer to as commercial diplomacy. How does the company work with the regulator? How does the regulation impact the strategies of the company and how can they adapt locally? This is particularly important for international companies that are based in different regions and therefore have to handle different regulation.
And so do these meetings as well also serve as networking opportunities and to increase international networks for participants?
They can. Maybe not so much in Brussels, more in Prague, where we're exploring more the diversity of the markets, both markets for goods and services, looking at the customer side, or market as HR for the employer and the employees. These are options for people to meet with different companies and, like we said, sometimes open ideas of what they want to do. So these are important moments, not just for the content, but also for the experience of the group together at the group. You don't have to deal with your family going home or with your job the next day. You really have 1 week where you can focus on your studies and developing further your relationship with the group. So those are really important times of the program. We are soon going for the first one in Brussels in March. And there's clearly in the life of the program the before and after in terms of the dynamics of the group.
Okay, so yeah, tell me a little bit about those dynamics. What was your experience with these study trips?
Well, for me, it was a great experience. I remember Brussels, yeah, and it was mainly about economics and regulation and so on, because we had the opportunity to visit the European Parliament, I think. And I remember at this time it was mainly focused on Brexit, actually. So because it was at that time the discussion.
And still the discussion.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And Prague, Prague it was mainly because we visited Skoda, yeah, and was Skoda was very. And you talk about the opportunities. Actually, they ask the graduates if they want to work at Skoda at that time.
Wow.
So yeah, it could be an opportunity or network for graduates. But my best memory actually is in Florence, because we were in a nice villa in Florence, and we were so focused on working on a business case, on a business plan, like a startup, like we are like a group of 2 or 3 people, and we needed to work on the idea and the execution of our business plan, and at the end we have to pitch it. So for me, it was a very, very nice experience about that, because it's actually build the teams or build the groups.
Okay, excellent. Let's move on to the next question here soon, if you'll read this, please.
How does this MBA address social responsibility and management for social good? Wow. We have a course. I remember that we have a course for me, it's quite a few years ago now.
Mhm.
But we have a course in social responsibility. So
Okay.
about, I think it was 2 or 3 courses about that, mainly about the how in Africa they manage to share money,
Mhm.
how they manage to gather some money, and people have to I don't remember the theme of the subject about that, but we have some courses about that.
And I'm sure the program has changed since Soon left.
Yes,
So
it evolves. There's no. You're talking about sessions within courses
Yes,
that are basically
yes.
addressing this, and
Yes.
this is the way we do it. We have not developed for that particular program specific courses dealing with social responsibility
No.
Mhm.
or sustainability. It's something that's instilled and integrated in most of the courses. So it might be something that we hear more about when we study strategy or finance or HR, but it's actually also when I teach operations and supply chain, this is also something that we're addressing. So we've decided to actually integrate it in the different courses as opposed to having it in a separate module.
okay, all right. Let's take the
Yes.
next question here. That's going to show up. Go ahead, Pierre.
Does this MBA include real-world consulting projects as other programs do? Your site says the program relies heavily on written case studies. So if this is referring to consulting projects that could be organized, no, we don't have things of that kind. This is something that we do and that I have managed before for full-time programs. When we have full-time programs, we typically have these questions of how do we apply this? This is what you were discussing earlier with Andrea. In this particular program, which is part-time, well, first of all, we don't necessarily have the flexibility and the time to do this in a rather intense way. And we have participants who basically are able to apply in their daily life what they are studying. So this is not as good a fit as a full-time program for people that would be remote from the business world. We rely on case studies, or they could be written, they could be video, they could be all sort of things. We rely on different tools that enable basically the faculty to bring in a situation and say, okay, this is what we're going to be studying, and either the situation is the reason for finding out what we want to discuss or for applying it. So that's a basically traditional case study methodology where the case is a pretext to raise a question and to see how it can be discussed. And then the experience of all of the people around the classroom takes place, and we can almost forget about the case that was just the beginning of the discussion.
And soon you were talking about doing one of these case studies whenever you were in Florence. Can you tell me what kinds of case studies you work on and what that process is like in a group dynamic?
Well, so we started with an idea, and the idea was for men. So the target was for men, and we wanted to help men do shopping.
Okay.
Okay. So so we wanted to from a website, for example, you just put your size and so on, your style and so on. And then we send the package with some clothes, and then the clothes you put on and you try. And if it fits, you take it, you buy it. And if it's not, you send it back. Okay? But we wanted to personalize the clothing for men. So it was this idea. And we work I work with two other people. And we started with to build, different a part of the business plan, because we needed to start with the idea, and then how you're going to execute and how you're going to finance it. Okay, because at the end you have to try to convince the investors to buy your idea. So, and it was 3 weeks. A full 3 weeks, so we worked from morning to night because it was in Villa, so we could actually work all the time, and for me it was very, very, very great. Even if we take the idea from other existing companies.
Sure.
but for me it was very, very about building the business plan.
All right, let's take the next question here. Pierre-Yves?
What does this program offer for development of leadership skills? This is an important component of the program, and from the very beginning of the program, we have a 1 week full-time seminar at the beginning where we're starting basically to help people identify what can be their strengths or weakness in terms of leaderships, in terms of teamwork, try to bring awareness to people on what do they want to focus on. And then throughout the program, we're going to offer some workshops dealing with negotiation, leadership style, design thinking, so different things where they're going to be getting some insight on how to do this. But I think a strong component of the training on leadership skills, I spoke earlier in the pitch as revealing your leadership skill, is really the group work. Most of the work that is being done throughout the program relies on teamwork. You're in a team with people coming from different horizons. They don't see the problem like you do. They don't see the answer like you do. And you're going to have to discuss with them. You're going to have to convince them or work along their ideas. And so this is really where slowly we can see how people learn how to become more effective and more efficient in their way of working together. And I think this is what we're telling them. You're going to be dealing with some obstacles in your work, but in the end, what you need to learn is how to be effective and efficient with anyone, because in most cases, you won't choose who you work with. So we'll promote that within the class, we'll push that within the class, and in the end, you'll be thankful and happy with that.
So, Sun, do you feel like this program helped mold you into an effective leader?
From my experience, when I started the program, I was kind of, little timid or shy,
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the program, you have to build so many business cases with your group. You try to change groups to have this diversity or collective intelligence, and then you have to present. You have to present for me it was almost all the time. You have to present, you have to pitch, and so on. And I started to be more confident. And right now I think it shows that my leadership actually started to be. I show more leadership throughout the program, and at the end, actually, right now, I think people can say that I have more leadership than before. So I had a lot of feedback from all the graduates.
Mm.
So
Excellent. All right. Well, up next, we're going to move on to the Tylus moment. I think the whole interview has been a Tylus moment because none of us are wearing ties, even though this is an executive MBA. But here's the question here. Pierre-Yves, if you'll read this for us, please.
What's the best way to easily identify a student from the Sorbonne Business School? I typically have problems describing as a general type a student from our program, yet I think there are commonalities among the graduates. Not so much walking in, but walking out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're trying to develop people that are curious, that are open-minded, that are able to communicate with different people in different styles. And so if ever we could have or be distinct on this, I think that would be how we recognize them.
What do you think, Sun? How do you recognize someone from the Sorbonne Business School?
Well, it's a very tough question. I think it's mainly about what we shared all together, and mainly about, because when I meet my old ex graduates,
Mm-hmm.
we often have our feelings and thoughts about what we went through the program. Especially the different case studies or the different trips, European trips, and I think that shape our mind about that. And I don't know if I can say that I recognize someone from this school, because everybody is kind of different. So, but when we are all together, we have when we meet each other, we have this kind of feeling all together. It's what I recognize them actually.
So tell me a little bit about the ambiance in this program. I was speaking to an MBA candidate at another business school, and she was saying that why she chose her school is that she looked at other schools and they were very institutional and very strict, saying you do this, 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 and this, and there was no room for flexibility. So can you explain to me the attitude, the mood, the ambiance at the Sorbonne? Is it very institutional? Is it very strict? Is it more casual? Obviously it's very professional. Everyone's professional in this program. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the environment there?
I would not necessarily refer to what you mentioned to say what the ambience is like. I think what defines this program and the group is, like you said, these are professionals. These are people that are highly motivated. These are people that are going to take away some of their personal time to come and study. And so we take that very seriously, and we expect them to take that very seriously, individually and collectively. So I think that is one of the features that defines the ambience. At the same time, we're looking at a small program, 28 students. We are looking at the students not as peers necessarily, but as experts in their own field and as contributors. So we rely on them to actually participate and provide some of the learning for others. And so we have a lot of respect of their knowledge as well, and have a lot of expectation on their commitment. We're very hands-on. We're very available for the people. Every week I get messages, emails from students or graduates that are asking me for reference, advice, help. And I think we're very accessible and approachable, which is probably setting us apart from other programs. We have developed within the program familiarity that is quite unique, but also very valuable and speaks to the relationship that we keep after the program. So I think this is, like you said, a professional ambience. We're here for a purpose, yet we can actually be quite loose and casual in the delivery, but we do have expectation, and we do monitor those expectations throughout the program.
All right, let's move on to the next question here soon, if you'll read this, please.
What are the profiles of teachers in this MBA, academics, part-time professionals? I had both.
Okay.
So mainly academics, because these are their full-time jobs. But I remember one that is a part-time professional is actually the teacher that teach us actually entrepreneurship. So startup, I forgot his name.
Kevin.
I'm sorry. But this one was a part-time professional. And I think there are other ones, probably in law.
HR.
Yeah, HR as well.
And finance.
Yeah. So
And
both.
So are all of the professors, are they all full-time academics? Are they, and also the international diversity of the faculty, is it all French teachers?
No. So we have a mix, like Sun said, we have a mix of academics and business practitioner. I think what defines both is that our academics are heavily involved in either action research and or other business activities directly, individually. Just like our business practitioners are also interested and involved in the research group or in other more academic aspect. At the moment, we have about 1/3 of our faculty that is coming from the business world as a full-time job, and 2/3 that are mostly faculty. Those 1/3 are actually international. We have an American, we have Italian, German, Irish people teaching. But even our French one are globally experienced since we have programs and projects throughout the world, and our faculty travel to China, to the US, to Brazil, to Mauritius, to Lebanon, and teach local people, work with local companies, so they have also developed this same international experience and culture.
All right, excellent. Let's take the next question here. Go ahead, Pierre-Yves.
How is an MBA from the Sorbonne viewed by international employers since the university isn't really known abroad for business?
Would you agree? It's kind of true. Most foreigners, I think, when they think Sorbonne, they think literature and philosophy. And
That's right. I think you can think that the Sorbonne, when it was created in the 13th century, was mostly focusing on theology and then on the humanities. But we're a little much down the road.
We've evolved since
We've
then.
evolved. Things have changed. The Sorbonne Business School was created to basically offer degrees with the same inheritance and the same values of excellence, of socially responsible programs, of promoting access to everyone to the highest levels in organizations. So I think this same value and reputation prevails and is what sets us apart. So even though mostly in France, people might think of the Sorbonne as something else, for a lot of our candidates coming from abroad, the Sorbonne is actually what drives them into the program, because they know that they're going to be recognized as having been a student in one of the most prestigious and demanding institutions in the world.
And so how do employers see this diploma from the Sorbonne Business School? Have
Well,
you had any feedback from international employers or graduates who have gone abroad?
Yes, for a simple evidence that we have people that are actually sent back by their employers year after year. So we have developed this familiarity with companies that are relying on us for the training of their employees, for our research projects or consulting projects at times. We can think also of how people with word of mouth actually promote the program and the school itself. So yes, I think the business school is recognized. One thing you want to say is that the degrees that we are granting are national degrees that are recognized internationally. So beyond the name of the Sorbonne itself, there are also requirements and the credentials that are recognized internationally.
Okay, and so soon you're French, you've worked for French companies, very big French companies.
Yeah.
What is the value of an MBA from the Sorbonne for you as a French person compared to getting an MBA from somewhere else, from a pure business school? Which this is a pure business school, the Sorbonne Business School, but there are schools that are just business schools.
So right now, I don't know about the other school because I can compare. I didn't do the other school. So what I can say is the value that I got from this school. So right now, with all of this knowledge, I can talk with any kind of manager, I would say, because I have a big vision of what is supposed to be a company, because I study many modules like marketing and so on, and I think it's mainly show when you talk with people, when you start to reveal yourself to these managers of other people, or because right now in this company I work with with finance, HR, IT, and so on, and it's easier for me right now. It's easier for me to have this kind of discussion and to have this kind of working, So for me right now it's very about that, because before the program I was mainly in project management, and it was mainly focused on IT. So expand actually my view about the whole company.
All right, very good. Let's move on to the next question, Pierre-Yves.
What kind of jobs can I expect to qualify for with this MBA? Where have alumni been hired? This is a little bit all over the place, considering that we have people coming in that are involved in different kind of jobs, mostly, of course, related to their previous education and experience. The MBA is going to add a layer to their skill set and to their experience that is going to enhance their options and their ability to grow, but it's not going to necessarily give them a way that everybody's going to follow. We have the same diversity out that we have diversity in. We have alums in every large corporation, but also in smaller companies, startups, small and medium-sized companies, public companies, or non-for-profit. It really is a matter of who has what kind of project when they walk in and how that project evolves throughout the program. But it certainly not makes converging people throughout the program.
And participants in a program like this already have an enormous amount of experience and are already at a certain level in their professional lives, so they have developed networks. But does the Sorbonne Business School also offer career services to its executive candidates?
We have some of this. It clearly is not the main kind of services that we're offering if you compare us with other schools, for one simple reason. 80% of our student body are actually employed,
right,
are already having a job, and they're not looking for a job to be hired at the end of the program like a full-time program would be concerned with. And so the changes in the career of our alums can take place as during the program sometimes. We don't necessarily recommend it because it's a lot to do at the same time.
Definitely.
But it happens. Like they spoke to, it's an eye-opener, and so for some people, after 6 months, they already take and seize an opportunity and move on. For some others, they try to wait until the end of the program or a little later. It really depends on their options, their opportunities. It could also be driven by their family situation. I mean, we have people, for instance, that have come and studied with us, and then after the program decided to spend more time with their family to help, and then maybe send the spouse to come and study with us again. So it really is an individually set kind of agenda.
All right, next question here. Go ahead, Soon.
Does the Sorbonne Business School have corporate partners that contribute to opportunities for students?
Or contribute to the program even?
There are a lot of corporate partners that contribute to the program.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, when we went to different European trips, we had the opportunity to visit a lot of companies, actually, especially in Prague. I remember Skoda, I remember Pilsner, the company, beer. I remember L'Oréal and so on. And actually, if you mean for the career and so on, I think Pierre, you just answered the question just before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in what other ways do these corporate partners contribute to the curriculum of the program?
I think a strong impact is coming from the different activities that we are carrying through the research groups. But it could also be with the professional thesis that the students have to take at the end of the program, when they're going to be relying more on their business environment to do this. There can be a contribution in other ways through cases that are provided. I have worked with Renault Digital 3 years ago on a corporate project for a group of a full-time MBA that I was also managing at that time. So there are different opportunities that arise, and depending on the needs of the company, they come back and talk to us because we've trained their people, they've been trained with us sometimes, they know what we can do, and they are typically faithful customers, if we want to put it this way.
Sure, clients, yeah,
Clients,
of course.
yeah.
Next question, go ahead, Pierre-Yves.
What is the cost of doing this MBA, and do you offer scholarships to non-EU students? So the cost for the program is 19,500. It is an inclusive of all tuition and fees, material, and as well as the activities and seminars abroad. So for the seminar to Brussels, Florence, and Prague, we cover accommodation, we cover transportation and activities. So it's really a price that is inclusive of everything that you need to take for the program without having to think of what else is going to add up to the bill along the way. It's a very competitively priced price for this kind of content.
Absolutely.
We are public universities, and we are trying to make this accessible to most, yet we want to offer a specific experience that requires some specific means. We do not offer scholarships for non-EU students or EU students.
Okay.
We don't have a different pricing for different people. The only thing that we do is for people that are fully financing the program themselves, we will grant them a 20% discount.
Okay. And so I imagine employers might also be interested in participating in students or in participants' tuition fees as well.
We have, in that case, there's no discount because it's no more
Right.
financed by by the individual himself or herself. But it's, yes, we have about 20% of our students who are actually sponsored by their company that is taking one way or the other the load of financing the program.
All right, let's take the next question here. Go ahead, Soon.
Can you tell me more about the other students in the MBA? How many? Cultural diversity. So I think we were less than 30. I think it was something like 28 or and cultural diversity. I think I remember that we were like 15 nationalities, something like that. 15 nationalities and probably half men and half women.
Okay. And even though this program is completely in English, do people still work in French quite a bit, since most people are already based in France and would probably speak French? Do you speak in French and work in French in your small groups?
To be honest, yes. Especially if you choose a French working group, you will start naturally to talk in French. But if you have someone else from another nationality or from another language, then you have to work in English. It's I think it's just natural if you are in a French working group. Well, but in class everything is in English. Okay, no exception. In class everything is in English.
Excellent. All right, well, that is all the time we have for questions, so we're going to wrap up with the conclusion. Pierre-Yves, if you would like to leave us with some last thoughts.
Well, I think the International MBA is an exceptional program that provides an opportunity for people to develop themselves, to explore different tracks and to open up doors that they didn't think are open. Among all of the benefits that people can get out of it, we've spoken about the skills, we've spoken about the leadership. I think that the program also empowers people. We can see that between the beginning and the end, people have gained confidence, they have gained a vision, they have gained an understanding of the diversity. They embrace this diversity much better. We typically have people coming in saying how open-minded they are. And then at the end of the program, they're like, okay, now I realize what it means and how worthwhile it is to have met people of such different background and to have developed the ability to work with them well and to keep those relationships for the rest of their lives.
Excellent. Well, thank you both very much for being here,
you.
and thank you to Andre as well. And thank you for tuning in to this edition of CC Executive. We'll see you next time.